I'm Ryan Foltz, and I named it Welcome to the Jungle because it kind of is a jungle, right? When you think about cybersecurity, you don't really know what to think or where to think, or because you hear stuff all the time. This person got hacked, that person got hacked. You see it on Facebook, somebody stole my profile, and all of these spoofing things, and you get tons and tons of email. And so it's kind of, you need somebody to help you navigate that jungle, right? So I'm Ryan Foltz. I'm the founder of PCRX Computers. We're local here to Myrtle Beach, but we do service all of South Carolina. I have over 20 years in the IT industry. I've been serving local businesses since 2007. I'm a local cybersecurity expert. I'm native to the Conway area. I have a radio show on Talk 94.5, which you can get from anywhere on the web, on Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock to help you stay secure. And of course, I wrote the book, Welcome to the Jungle, and I named it that because it's tough. So what I wanted to start out with was to give you some current data compromise numbers. And I just got this a couple of days ago. And these numbers are only for the third quarter. This is not for the whole year. This is only for quarter number 3. And this is fresh information. So you can see total number was 672, but that equated to how many victims? 241 million total victims. So it doesn't take a lot to hit a lot of people. The top ones this quarter were 110 of them were from an AT&T breach. 100 million of them for MC2 Data. Do you guys know what that is? That is the data company that companies use for background checks. So if you're doing a background check, you're using MC2 Data because they have the data to do the background check. But they got hacked. You know? Can't help that. Evolve Bank and Trust, Health Equity, Arcadian Ambulance Service. They got hit, an ambulance service. I don't know. It's kind of a strange one to get hit, but top industries up here, 141 compromises in financial services, 123 in healthcare, 91 professional services, 66 manufacturing, and 33 in education. And the manufacturing is really the concern here because of the supply chain attacks. They're going up. So the supplies that we count on, we can't get, or they're going to be subject to some cyber attacks, because what are they trying to do? Disrupt our flow of how we do things. System and human errors, another big one. The MC2 Data Company actually was not a cyber attack. Do you know what happened? Somebody that worked there left a file unprotected, 2 terabytes worth of information. Didn't lock it down. So it's not always a bad actor, right? All right, so how does that break down? And you guys will be interested to hear this. The number one thing that is an attack vector. So these are things that they do to attack your business or to attack you. So the number one thing in quarter 3, phishing, smishing. You know what that is? Phishing and smishing? So phishing is an email that you get that's phishing for like from Best Buy or Amazon or something. You have a package that gets delivered, or postal service. I mean, you guys have seen all of those things. You can hang is when it comes from inside, like from HR. It looks like it's from HR in your company, but it's really not. That's what happened to MGM. When was it? A year or so ago? And actually Uber, same kind of thing. They phishing email. And business email compromise. And I will say this because it happens all the time to everybody. We are all subject to business email compromise. If you have a business and you're using @Gmail something, it's a security hole. Because @Gmail something is not secure. You're on that same server with everybody else that's at Gmail, and you're giving them information and giving them. But you know, a lot of times some things that you do are password related, right? And I'll get to that in a minute. Updates, human errors, Misconfigured firewall, lost devices, physical attacks, document theft, skimming devices, not secure cloud environment. So even though you're in the cloud, right, you're still not safe. You have to back that up, and you have to make that secure. So it's a lot of things. So when we go to business to analyze what we need to do for that business, we have to go by the NSA. Love them, hate them. But this is what we have to go by in cybersecurity. And I'm just going to kind of breeze through this, but we have to update your software, defend your privileges and accounts, enforce your and a lot of these things you're not going to know what that means. Exercise a system recovery plan, because you need to have a consultant to help you through these things. Because if your business gets hacked, let's just say you're using a main program for, someone mentioned it earlier, what's the building program that you guys use? All right, so Buildertrend is probably pretty secure, but it's on your network in your office. How secure is your network in your office? So if somebody gets into your computer and gets onto your version of that, they can do lots of damage, potentially, right?
Yeah, that was told us a few years ago.
Yeah, and so it's not only, we can't just rely on the vendors to protect us, we have to protect our local networks too. And that's a common misconception in a lot of these things. So there's actually 10 of them that we have to do. We have to continuously hunt for intrusions, leverage hardware features, segregate networks, all of these things that protect you, because not just one thing can protect you. Yes, sir. Well, generally, the IT company is just going to manage the things that you house. I'm an IT company. I don't store any data, per se, on anybody's stuff. I can have access to it if I need to, but I don't generally save it on any of my servers. Generally, with an IT company, we work with vendors. If you're a good IT company, you work with multiple different vendors. So if you have all of your tools that you use under one roof, for, let's just say, for example, Kaseya is a big one that everybody probably knows. If you're using all the tools and then they get hacked, then all of your tools are useless. So we have to protect ourselves too. But you also, and we'll get to some cybersecurity insurance questions in just a minute, but that is going to be, something that you have to think about too. Because, insurance is insurance. All right, so passwords, something to think about. 81% of security breaches come from weak or stolen passwords. 81%. So what do? We have a password that we use for this, and then we have a variation of a password that we use for that. I'll tell you a quick story about a lady. She got an email from Walgreens that said she had a prescription. And she needed to log in to approve the subscription. So she clicks on the link, logs in, and it says, password's not right. So what does she do? Puts in the secondary password, right? So now hacker has first password, puts in the secondary one. Now hacker has secondary password. We might even have a third one that maybe we're going to try. And it's going to come back and say what? Log in with Facebook or Google. My favorite thing, right? So then you do that. You log in with Facebook. Now they have your Facebook. Because all you're really doing is trying to approve your prescription that you have at Walgreens. But that was actually a phishing email. And they're so freaking sophisticated with these things. So you got to be careful. Password management is important. 3 out of 4 companies do not have a password manager. Easy fix. They're cheap. We use a couple of different ones. Password Boss and Keeper's another good one. Something that you should definitely have. And 55% of security breach victims are small businesses. So a lot of times we hear, and Stanley can attest to this, we're too small. They don't want to attack us. They only want to attack AT&T and Verizon and all of these things. But that's not the case. They cast a wide net, and whoever falls into it, small, big, or indifferent, we're all susceptible to that. So data breaches. Stanley talked about data breaches a little bit earlier about how much money your data is actually worth. That's why this is all happening, right? Because your data is important. If you have a security system at your, how many of you have a security system at your house? 3 of you? Because you want to protect what? The people in the house. Well, your data is no different than the people in the house. It's your data, it belongs to you, and you should protect it. And are we getting numb to all these attacks? Oh, well, somebody's already got my stuff. Why should I be worried about it? You know, that's really not the best way. So every day, that many records. 166,000 every hour. And this is actually a year old, so it's probably higher than this. 2,000 every minute, and 46 records every second. Every second of the day, 46 records. So I want to go through 3 things that you can do as a business and some things that you might overlook or might not think about. And because what happens is we're all running our business. We're focused on building or HVAC or whatever kind of business we're in. We're not thinking about cybersecurity until something happens. But I'm here to tell you that you got to be proactive. You have to think about these things because it's important. Your data is important. Your customers are counting on you to protect their information. So what is something that we do all the time is we buy an antivirus program and we think that's all we need, right? Because that's all we've ever been taught. Buy an antivirus, it'll fix the problem. Problem with antivirus is they're reactive, right? Something gets on your computer and it reacts to it. What you need to do, the secret really to cybersecurity is to not let it get on your computer to begin with. But there's a lot of things that you have to put in place to make that happen. 75% of ransomware victims report having up-to-date antivirus. 75%. I bought antivirus. It's supposed to protect me. That's what I've been told. You thought that they thought they were safe. I have it. Not worried about it. Nothing's going to happen. You invest some money into it, but if you're only spending a little bit of money in antivirus, can you expect a ton of protection for that? It's like anything else that you buy, right? But the hackers still got in because they know how to get around antivirus by now. It's been out since, what, 2000 or so? So the hackers bypass the antivirus, and they can make the files look like they're real. And the hackers are what? They're always evolving. They have new things and new tricks and new things, and who has to keep up with them? Me and Stanley. I mean, that's the long and short of it, but we keep up with it so we can consult with you to help you be safe and help you be secure. The tactics are always changing. And, you know, we think that antivirus is our immune system, and it can be for things, but we put antivirus has not seen a file before, it assumes that it's a good file. So that's all you really have to say. Hackers change their files and antivirus just can't keep up. Now, even artificial intelligence needs to learn. We were talking about that earlier. Why is that AI not evolved anymore? Well, because it has to learn. It's going to take a few years for it to learn. So it's slower to respond than a person. And the hackers know this. They know how to get into your systems. So what worked yesterday in 2000 something, whenever antivirus came out, isn't going to work today. And it might work today in conjunction with other things, but not by itself. So let's think about a small, I don't know, let's say insurance office. Maybe they got 10 people in there. And then COVID hit, right? But before COVID, they were all in the office in their cubicles or whatever doing their thing. Well, what happened, we had COVID, and then everybody's working remotely or working at a coffee shop, right? Am I wrong? You guys have seen it, you know, that's it. Well, what's the problem with that? People use inexpensive firewalls at home, the thing that you buy from Walmart, When you're in the office and you have an IT company, you have a better system, a better firewall, you have more security. So when a hacker gets past the antivirus, there's no corporate firewall to stop them. One of their 17 users was phished, one of them. 1 out of 5 users clicked on a malicious link, and the hacker got past their antivirus. Accessed their VPN, which is the connection between you and your office, and then what happened? Bam. You're all down. They're asking you for however much money. This actually happened to a customer, I guess a year or so ago, and they asked for the exact amount of money that she had in her bank account. It was ridiculously insane. I've seen a lot of things, but that's the first time I'd ever seen that.
I saw that.
Have you seen it?
It was an accounting firm. It was 2 guys.
Mhm.
And that was it. And they're like, oh, we're not big. And they hacked in, got into their QuickBooks, which listed all their bank accounts. And if you took the money in their bank accounts to the penny, is what they asked for to unlock their accounts. And you don't know if you pay them if they're actually going to.
Well, it's 50-50 chance, right? It's like playing the lottery or something. I don't know, but so they had to pay the ransom. But 13 days down. Can you afford to be down for 13 days? What would happen to your business? That's only 13 days though. Most cyber attacks, it takes 90 days or more. You guys probably don't know this, but a year or so ago, AVX got hit with an attack. And it took them 4 months for the computers to get back up and running again like they were supposed to. They got attacked in the Greenville location, and then it spread out to all the other AVXs. My father-in-law worked there, so I knew kind of everything that was going on. So, and again, all businesses are at risk. A small business, a big business, a business that's in the cloud. So everybody is a target, and everybody has to pay the ransom. So you have to make sure that you have more than just antivirus protecting you, or more than just one thing protecting you. Like I'm going back to your home again. If those of you that have an alarm system, is that gonna stop people from breaking into your house? No. What about that sign that you put in your yard? What's that gonna do? Is that gonna stop people from breaking into your house? No, but what's it gonna do? It'll deter them, like an antivirus program, but it's not gonna stop them. Well, so it might deter some people, but then they go to your house and they see the alarm system and they're like, I'm gonna break in anyway. So you have level 1 is the sign, right? Then level 2, you have an alarm system. And then level 3, you probably have a dog or something, right? Let's say you have a dog for this example. And so the burglar's gotten past the sign, the alarm system, and the dog. What's in the back bedroom? Stanley with a gun. See what I'm saying? It's the same way with security. Security is all the same. This is what I'm talking about. Human perimeter network endpoint application data. This is your assets in here. We have to protect them with all of these different layers of security in order for you to be 100% secure. Now, we talked a little bit about, he was asking a question about, and I sort of came to the insurance question, but when you have all of these in place, it's easy to get insurance. If you do not have any of these or some of these in place, they will decline you every time. But what happens when they decline you the first time? It says in there, when you apply the next time, have you ever been denied coverage? So the next time you apply, you've already got one demerit against you. And that really concerned me. I was really upset about that because people are paying tons and tons of money for cyber insurance, and they don't have all these things in place. If an attack happens, what's the cyber insurance company going to do? Sorry, you didn't have your antivirus updated. We're not paying. Or your computer wasn't updated, or your whatever. And that's just not fair. So within the last year, we've been working with a company, and with our services, we're offering a cybersecurity warranty. And so we're confident that we're going to put all of these things into your business, and we're going to give you a $100,000 warranty on top of that. It's not insurance. I can't sell insurance. I'm not an insurance agent. But I'm fed up with insurance. They don't do anything for us. We need something that I can't stand up here. Stanley can't stand up here and say I can stop everything from happening in your environment. But if it does, it's about the recovery. Remember, 13 days. Insurance. You got cybersecurity insurance, you get hit, what's going to happen? How much more longer are you going to be down waiting for the insurance? But with the warranty, I can call them and say, you know, Chris over there got hacked and we need to take care of it. They're going to give me $12,000 instantly to get him back up and running. Then we're going to investigate what happened. So I want people to be protected, and Stanley the same way, but you got to have all these different things in place. And sometimes we miss the warning signs, right? That our network is not secure. If maybe you've already experienced a breach. Anybody? Has anybody experienced a breach or data loss? Okay. Ransomware. Do you think it's going to happen again? It's not, used to be if, right, Stanley? If. Now it's when. When is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Hackers often leave back doors. So when they get into your system, they put what we call a foothold onto your computer. And that foothold is a kind of a portal for the hackers to go back and forth into your computer system. So even if you think they're out, they could still be in there, which is why you have to have more than just an antivirus program. You need somebody monitoring it all the time, making sure that, matter of fact, we had 5 o'clock this morning, one of our vendors sent me an email about one of our clients. They clicked on something and it loaded something on their computer, but at 5 o'clock in the morning, they immediately pulled that computer off the network and said, go in there in the morning and pick it up and clean it up. And so, yes, sir.
I was going to bring up that Microsoft had this maybe just a couple of years back, but
Mhm.
every now and then there's a new update to printers.
Yeah.
Because the ports on the printers are left open because
Yep.
of printers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way they get in, to your point. The antivirus doesn't do shit. Anybody hooked up to a network printer, that's it. It's fair game. That printer is now
Mhm.
sending information back.
Yeah, and that's the really why you need what we call a penetration test done. Stanley kind of alluded to that earlier. That's the very first thing that we do, and I'm going to get to that in just a little bit. But hackers do leave those back doors open. So, how many of you can log into your business email without a password? In other words, I'm on my computer, this laptop right here, and I'm checking my mail, and I close it, or I shut it down, and then I go home and I open it back up and turn it back on. I can just open up my email and it's not going to ask me for anything. Right? That makes sense now? Okay. So, why does it do that? How does it remember my stuff? Right? How does it do that? It creates a token. And it puts a token on your computer, and so when you go to open Microsoft Outlook, for example, it goes to that token. It says, this is okay, I can open this. But what happens if that token gets stolen off your computer? And anybody can use it, right? This is kind of how business email compromise happens. You guys see where I'm going with this? Maybe spam and unwanted emails is a big deal for you. Probably time to get a penetration test done. 74% of organizations in the United States have experienced a successful phishing attack. 74%. That's a pretty big number, and it's probably higher than that. 65% of those experienced business email compromise. It's a big deal. They want to get a hold of your email so they can get more people that you know. 47% were infected with ransomware. So maybe you get lots of warning messages, right? Pop-ups, those types of things. Not so much anymore, maybe you do. Don't click on them. One thing I always tell people, like when you go to a Google search, for example, if you're searching for something, right, And the first thing that pops up in the search is what? A sponsored ad, or 10 sponsored ads, or 50 sponsored ads. I don't know. But the odds are those sponsored ads aren't going to take you to the place that you want to go. You might think that they do, but they won't. So I always tell people to make sure that you go back down to the non-sponsor. If you're looking for Home Depot and Home Depot says a sponsored to Home Depot, you might not end up at the Home Depot. Might look like the Home Depot, but you might not be there. And they might be able to collect your information just like we talked about earlier with the Walgreens situation. All right, the last sign is you don't know what to do if you see something like weird emails in your sent items. Has anybody seen that? Maybe. All of a sudden you're checking your sent box and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't send that. Profile updates like unexpected change to your phone number in your profile, in your email accounts, or any accounts that you have, Facebook, whatever. A new signature in your email that maybe not is yours. Could be someone else's. Good thing to check. Got to keep on top of these things. A mail forwarder that sends messages to the trash bin. This is an actual real story that happened to a builder in Georgetown. She called me early one morning and she said, she was in tears. She's like, they got into my bank account and they took $100,000. And I said, okay, well, we need to investigate and figure out what happened. And the time it took me to get from Georgetown, or from Conway to Georgetown, they already took out another $100,000. Well, what happened was her email got compromised, and the emails from the bank were forwarded to the hacker. So she had no idea. Second thing that she did was she had all her passwords in an Excel spreadsheet on her desktop. So if the hacker gets access to her desktop, now they have access to everything else. And at the end of it all, it ended up being $300,000. And you guys know, when you're a builder, you have to have money to be able to build with. So you have lots of money put in separate accounts for these things. And that was there. I mean, basically everything she had worked for was gone. Now I can't give her her money back, but we work with the banks and she's gotten at least half of it back at this point. And this has been 7 or 8 months ago. But I mean, again, they're thinking no one's gonna attack me. Why would they attack me? Anybody that has money, they want to attack you. I mean, that's the long and short of it. Maybe your password's changed unexpectedly. You try to go to a website and it's a different password, or a password to your email's changed. Another warning sign. Maybe in your company, you don't have a clear method to report a security incident. So why is that important? Because if someone in your organization gets a phishing email, maybe there should be a way to report that so that everybody else doesn't click on that same phishing email. Because if you don't have monitoring and maintenance in your business that does all of this for you, guess what? You're on the hook for it. You guys have to do it. So, some things you can do. Make sure everyone is on the lookout. Have a documented way to get help. Who's going to be in charge of this security thing that we're doing? Who do I go as my person to tell that's going to give that information out to the rest of the team? And make sure everybody knows what to do. That's part of training. And part of our packages, that's what we do. We give you monthly training to train your employees about all of the different things that are happening. I just showed you the numbers from the third quarter. They're pretty high. All right, so we go to the dentist. How many of us go to the dentist? All right, y'all are still awake. We do some jumping jacks or something. We got x-rays. Why do we get x-rays at the dentist?
To see the things.
There you go, Rob. Thanks for popping in here, buddy. To see the things that's wrong with you. Because of problems that you cannot detect with the naked eye. Can I walk into your office or your business and tell you everything that you need by just looking at your stuff? It'd be like going to the dentist and have them look in your mouth and say, oh, you need a root canal or something. You know, and I always say this, there's lots of IT companies, so be really careful. There's IT companies that's all they are. is IT companies. If something breaks, they come fix it. And then there's IT companies that are focused on security, like Stanley and I are. Yes, we're going to do all the IT stuff, but we're going to do it with the security mindset so that you're not having to deal with all of these things that I'm just telling you. So what we need to do is get an x-ray of our network and check out and see where we are. Because that gives you an idea of, for example, I had a accountant that we just took over in Surfside, and we did a penetration test for her, and it came up on the test that her email was on the verge of being compromised. It had a high risk of being compromised, her email address. And so I told her, I said, we need to do something about this because you're going to get hacked in your email. People are going to be sending out emails left and right. She's like, no, I don't want to spend the money. I don't want to do it right now. I said, okay, fine. Would you know, 2 weeks later, what happened? She called me, hey, my email got hacked. I'm like, I tried to tell you, you know, but it's kind of like leading horse to water sometimes. But, you know, we do these for a reason because we want to know specifically what you need, your network needs. We're not trying to come in and just give you one solution for everything. It doesn't work like that. We're consultants, both of us. And we consult first and then quote later. All right. Again, I'm going back to the antivirus because I don't like antivirus, but use more than that. And I know some of you, or one of you, had a breach. Or you didn't have a breach, though. Oh, 3 years ago. Okay. Okay. So, again, the token with the email. We want to be careful about that. I think I went through a lot of these already. So, who's responsible for communicating to your clients if you have a breach? Because you know you have to do that. Even though a lot of companies don't, but you do have to do it. Who's going to deal with negotiating the ransom if you get ransomware? Not your employees. Fall on who? You and me, the business owner. Again, we go back to all business are at risk. So here's the part for questions. Like this girl's, I don't know, what do I do now? So I don't want you to leave here with that mentality. And Stanley and I will take questions for the next 10 minutes or so. If not, we'll let you out a little bit early. But I don't want you to leave here with questions, please. Rob?
I have a question that's not really related to necessarily the security itself, but how often are they catching these people who are doing these things? So like, the person who got the money out of your clients, or, your, they weren't a client at the time probably, but the one who got the 300,000, are they catching people 10% of the time?
Well, the problem is they're on foreign soil. So there's not a whole lot we can do, unfortunately. Now, if they're on American soil, yeah, we'll catch them. We'll find them, we'll cut them down, we'll catch them. But the majority of the time, it's going to be overseas because they know what can we do to them. We can't. We have no jurisdiction over there, and that's the problem. That's why we can't stop it, so we have to prevent it. We have to be proactive because, I can't go blow up their call centers over there that have all the hackers in them. As much as I'd like to. We just want people to be secure. I mean, that's the thing. And too many times we just don't think about it. We're busy, busy, busy. I know, I'm the same way. You get busy in our businesses.
How do they pick who they're targeting? I mean, or do they start with people like, okay, you got a website, so therefore I'm going to target, or what is it?
It's a net. Like when you go out fishing, you have a cast net. It's basically what they're doing. If you're a business, they're casting a net out to you. I mean, yeah, they probably do have some, they can probably narrow it down to certain things. A lot of the things they're looking for two things, data and money. Yes, sir.
How long would you say, on average, and I don't know if you know, but how long are hackers or these bots sitting in your system undetected, not doing anything before something actually happens?
So the statistics on that is about 4 to 6 months before. So what happens is you click on something and it gets on your computer, this foothold that we've been talking about, that it stays on there and it gives the hacker access to your computer. Well, he's not going to get to it right now because he's got probably, he has a ticket list of all these other people that have clicked on the same thing. So it might take him 3, 4, 5 months to get to your name and see that we have something on your computer to get to you, which is why having an IT company is so important, because we can catch it long before the hacker's actually going to utilize that foothold. Does that answer your question? Okay. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Is cloud storage like SharePoint less susceptible to ransomware than servers?
No, even when we do Microsoft Outlook for our customer, or not Microsoft 365, which includes SharePoint for our customers, we secure that and we back it up. So you might be saving it in OneDrive, but it's still not safe and secure. You got to back it up again. And you should be backing it up on site, but a lot of us don't have that capability anymore because everything's in the cloud. And so now we have to have those same principles in the cloud. Back up to the cloud, then you back the cloud up.
For most of those, when you sign your agreement with them, you're basically using Microsoft servers or Google servers, and so they kind of focus on the security of their facility and the updates on those servers that they hosted on, but you're responsible, and even with some of your softwares they use that are cloud-based, you're responsible for securing your part of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and all that long list of things that you have to check mark before you can get the product, that's one of those things listed in there, that you're responsible for the security.
Well, I mean, who reads the terms and conditions?
Does anybody actually go through and read?
No. So it says it in there in all of them, but it's not something that we're looking at. We just want to get the software. We know everybody else uses it. We know it works. We don't really care. But it's important because they stick all that stuff in there that they're not responsible for anything, like the credit cards you were talking about with the PCI earlier. It's written in there. Get hacked, the credit card number gets out, you're responsible. Credit card company is not responsible. Unless a lot of times banks don't do that, but if you just have an off-the-wall credit card processor, be real careful. And if you're paying fees for PCI compliance, be very careful.
That's when they'll put on your credit card statement will be like a PCI non-compliance fee,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll charge you a certain amount a month. And you could be compliant with PCI, but they automatically put it on there and then charge you for it. And then if something happens, say, oh, well, you're paying this non-compliance fee, so that means you're not compliant.
They just tried to figure out a way to get more money out of people, and so they're like, hey, let's just do this non-compliance thing, and we'll charge everybody $50. I've seen them up to $100, $200 a month for those non-compliance fees. And you don't realize it. You just like, I'm paying this. But when I started looking at it, I'm like, this is ridiculous, and it's just, these things make me frustrated. So I try to find solutions. And
I'll say this, QuickBooks, because we do utilize QuickBooks. I will say they're good. We process one credit card a year.
Mhm.
There's always that one customer.
Yeah.
I'm going to give credit card over the phone, and had to go through and all that. It scans your computer. I feed just another one checkbox, one question.
Yep.
But I have to do it because if there is that one time it gets breached on one credit card, I
Mhm.
can say, check the box. Here you go.
Yeah.
It's on you, not on me. So
Now, do you write it down when you take it over the phone, or you just type it straight in?
Yeah, I usually open up like a quick notepad, type it in, then delete it out after a sorry process and go from there. It's always that one customer.
Well, I will say, and I'm going to go back to the insurance real quick because this is a great tip. If you guys have a business owner's policy for your business, which most of you probably do, and you think, well, when you bought the business owner policy, they said, hey, would you like to add on this cybersecurity policy for X amount of dollars? And you do, because it's probably pretty cheap. It's just a little add-on thing where they can make a little bit more money, but then you get a breach and you don't have all those 7 things because the insurance agent didn't tell you, because he didn't know, because he doesn't understand cybersecurity insurance because it's new, then you've just wasted all that money. So if you're paying for it under a business owner's policy, it's a waste of money. You can get a separate cybersecurity policy on your own, but make sure it's separate. That's the only way it's going to cover anything, because you won't be able to get the policy unless you have all of those things that I talked about earlier.
Yeah, that was one of the things I look at with people is if they have it, I say, give me your cyber insurance policy, and I'm going to look through it and tell you what you're not. And I was actually a relative of mine's company, and she check that they had it on. It's like, this is a binding document that
Mhm.
says that you're doing these things and you're saying you are when you aren't. And so we had to work through it and do that kind of thing. But once you fill out that check mark, that actually becomes part of the policy. And so if you say you do it and then something happens and they can prove that you didn't do it, then it's void.
Yeah, like you don't have two-factor authentication turned on for your program that you log into. And your program gets hacked and they're going to say, oh, well, you didn't have it turned on. Therefore, you're responsible for this big breach. It's really terrible, y'all. I hate it. But this is why we're out here teaching. We want y'all to understand how serious this is, and we want y'all to get help, whether it's with us or whether it's not. I got some cards in the back. You're feel free to take one. Master builders, fill out the sheet in the back before you go for credit for that. And anything else I'm missing, Rob? That's the only instructions Miss Roseanne said. Make sure you tell them about the builders thing. So, but I have some cards back there. Stanley and I will hang out for a little bit. Do you guys have any other questions? All right. Well, good deal. Well, thank you for your time. And
Thank you.
sure I'll see a lot of you tonight at the